so this week we're going to be talking about best practices for surviving online learning. Hopefully this will be the last semester of doing that, but okay, yeah, so first we'll go through some announcements about the club, and then our presentation consists of just tips for Zoom classes, studying and study groups, test taking, office hours, and then we'll wrap it up with a fun Kahoot game at the end. Okay, so first of all, AWM is doing something new this semester, and it's just supposed to be an incentive way for people to hopefully come to more meetings. So we kind of want to keep track of who's coming and when. So if you do come, you'll get 1 point for attending one of these like normal weekly meetings. And I think once or twice a month we have an AWM event, which is usually like when we bring in another speaker or have a joint meeting session with like another math club at UT. And if you attend one of those events, you get 2 points. And there will be other various opportunities to earn points. So maybe like winning these Kahoot games at the end of meetings could be something like that. We haven't worked out all the details. And at the end of the semester, the top 3-point earning members will win prizes such as free AWM t-shirts, tips, treats, or some other fun ideas. And if you guys have any ideas, let us know and we can arrange that. Also, I just want to shout out the UT AWM t-shirt. We're still kind of brainstorming about the design there. So if you guys want to create a t-shirt design, or if you know someone who's good at graphic design that would want their art to appear on official UT Club t-shirts, then please let us know, and we would love to use your artwork for that. Okay. Okay, and also this Friday at 3 p.m., we're doing a joint session, so one of those, a joint session with the math club, and 2 of the officers from the math club are here today to host a joint LaTeX workshop. And for those of you that don't know, LaTeX is a typesetting software for basically to like write equations, and they make your homework really pretty, and they're just it's a good tool to learn especially if you want to go to grad school. You'll be wanting to write your theses and dissertation and stuff like that in LaTeX most likely, and it's just a good way to be able to write any sort of equations online, because Microsoft Word isn't really the best for that. So we would love to see you there. All right, and next we'll be talking about the main topics for today. And Alyssa, are you ready to join me on this one, or are you still?
Let me think here. If you can give me about, sorry y'all, we did not get our Kahoot finished in time, so I'm trying to put the finishing touches on that to make sure that it is ready. Let me think. Zarin, if you will just give me about like 10 minutes, then I think I can jump back in. Okay, cool, thank you.
All right, cool. So how this is gonna go is we'll go through some topics, and I guess with whatever I bring up, I would like for y'all to be kind of thinking about maybe tips that you have found helpful, and at the end we're gonna kind of just share with each other, because I think really that's the most helpful thing to do, is hear from more people and not just 3 random officers of this club. So for Zoom classes, some helpful tips are to add the links of those Zoom classes to your calendar. I use Google Calendar, and if you just copy and paste the link for each of your classes, you don't have to like log on to Canvas and log on to Zoom every time. And so there's just one simple click, and you can also set reminders like 10 minutes before. That way, hopefully you won't miss a class, because at least for me, it's easy to forget what day it is when I live in this like little box. So that's pretty helpful. Another thing is to keep your camera on when possible. That really helps me stay focused in a class and not browse other websites, because like mostly in fear of, you know, my face like becoming obvious that I'm not paying attention to what's going on in class. And also I think, you know, as hard as it is for us, it's still kind of a weird situation for our professors. So it would be, I think most of them prefer to still see our faces. They wish we could all be together in person. So yeah, when possible, I think maybe you could think of it as like the least we could do for them, and also probably will give you some benefits as well. Along with that, asking questions and participate. It's really hard to judge kind of the atmosphere of a room on, you know, online. So I would just take it as I think the benefit of the doubt is the more you participate, everyone else will appreciate that. Like, I personally have not had anyone in any of my classes who I thought, oh, they always interrupt or they always do this. And that's, I guess, is the reason that I don't ask too many questions in class, because I'm fearful of that. But if you think about it, how rare is that for you to even notice someone else asking too many questions? Usually it's a welcome break and slows down the pace of the class and can be really helpful. So again, another thing that helps others and helps yourself. And following along and taking adequate notes is also very helpful. Along with that, I have been taking advantage of watching the recordings of classes. And I also I'm not too hard on myself if I have to skip a class, because I think that sometimes watching the recording and at my own pace is more beneficial to me than going to the class like in real time. And studying sessions. So talking to your classmates through the Zoom feature is kind of a good way to start things off, especially if you've never met someone before. That can be a good way. Also, I think that goes along with turning your camera on. If you're reaching out to someone you don't know, at least having them know your face will help it seem less like random, I think. So you can also reach out to them via email or Canvas. So actually on most of your classes, there should be a people tab, and you can go through and look at all your classmates that are in that class, and you can direct message them on Canvas. On the left-hand side, there's a tab for messaging, and you can direct message anyone, including the professor, TAs, or your classmates. And another thing is join class chats via Discord, GroupMe, or Slack. And if your class doesn't already have one, be the person to create the group. I think that's one great way to make friends, because then you can personally reach out to people who you'd see in the class that aren't in the GroupMe and say like, hey, would you like to join this? And then they know who you are and you're meeting them as well. And by the way, you can also direct chat people in the Zoom chat if you didn't know that already. And then scheduling weekly regular study sessions for homeworks and midterms. It's always good practice, whether you're in Zoom or not. So really that one kind of stays the same. Okay, so for test taking, I think at least all of my classes have different test taking formats. Some are proctored virtually, some are not, and some are take-home exams. But in all those scenarios, you probably want to prepare what you need ahead of time. So as much paper as you need, whether you need a scanner, that's really important. Or if your professor wants you to upload your test within a certain amount of time, you want to be sure to ask them whether they will count it as late if it takes you a couple seconds at the end of the submission period to like upload it, because you definitely don't want any points off just for some technical difficulties. Hopefully professors should be understanding, but I've heard some stories of people not being so nice. Right, so consider submission time and leave yourself around 5 minutes. That would make it pretty safe. So don't wait until the last minute to begin testing. So I know some of my professors allot me like maybe 6 hours to take a test, but the exam is only 1 hour. So don't wait until the 5th hour of the 6 hours to start the exam. Probably not the best idea because some unforeseen circumstances could pop up and your professor in that case might not be as forgiving because they gave you the 6 hours total. And ask for accommodations if you need them. I think UT is required to accommodate you, especially if you have special permission from student services. Okay, and office hours. So you have links on your, the links on your calendar for your office hours. I think that actually encourages me to go to more office hours in these times because my life is just my calendar. Whereas before I knew where to walk on campus, but I wouldn't really want to walk all the way to office hours. But here, I can see which days they're on and I can go more consistently. So that will definitely help, I think. And also don't be shy to drop in even if you don't have questions. That's something that I used to do in real life. And on Zoom, it can be kind of weird because it seems like you're lurking, but you learn from questions that other people ask. And so if you show up and if your professor says, like, do you have any questions? They will totally understand if you say, no, I just wanted to learn from what other people are thinking, or like, I haven't looked at all the material yet, but I'm sure I'll have the same questions as other people. So I think that will clear up any sort of awkwardness. So don't be afraid to do that. And again, the more FaceTime, the better. It is a little awkward if there's 3 people in a Zoom and you don't have your camera on, then it kind of seems like you're lurking. But again, everyone understands if there's something wrong with your camera, that's totally fine. Okay, so now I would like to hear from y'all if you have had if you've come across any tips and tricks that have helped you the past 2 semesters that you can share with everyone else.
Hi. So one thing that has helped me this semester that I didn't used to do last semester is treating kind of the opposite of what you said, treating like my asynchronous classes like synchronous classes, and having like a routine because I used to let lectures pile up a lot, and that was really stressful come exam time or like big projects and stuff. Having to look back on a bunch of lectures was really overwhelming, but like having a real routine and treating them like you have to go, like pretending attendance is required, was really helpful for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I probably learned that the hard way because I did have them pile up, and different techniques work for different people. So I'm glad that you shared that because this semester it's working for me to rewatch videos later, whereas last semester that did not work for me at all. So that's a good tip.
So, like for me, I think it was like kind of what Syncta was saying, like the opposite of Zarin. So for like my synchronous classes, sometimes they post it. Sometimes the teacher will be like, "Oh, like the lecture is going to be recorded, it's posted, all the notes are online." But if I just like skip class and watch the lecture, or just look at their notes, like I totally won't do it. Like I will not get around to it. And so like I have to go and I have to actually take notes, even if they're kind of nonsensical. And I just like go off of the teacher's notes, the professor's notes later. And then another one is that since like my bed is right there and my desk is right here, I will like not go anywhere. Like sometimes it's bad. I'll be like a week where I'm just within 6 feet. So I know that if you're in Austin or wherever you are, that there are some like safe places to do your homework. Like the PCL is one, and it's all distanced and everything. or if you can like study outside. That has been so helpful because I'll sit in my room and do nothing. But when I go to the PCL, like I get a lot done. It's super helpful.
Yeah, that's also a good point, is just change of location can really, really help. I think I'm doing fine, and then I realize that I haven't left the house or my room really since Sunday, and it's like Friday, so I have to like get out and go for a walk or something. But I'm curious to know, besides the PCL, have any of you guys found other places that you think are particularly nice to study in and also very safe and like removed from most people?
What's the EERC?
It's the engineering building behind the PMA, and I think next to the civil engineering building. It seems to be like pretty social distance. There aren't a lot of people at most times anyway, so that's pretty nice.
You know if you have to be an engineer to get in that building, or is that only because the only time I've tried to get in on my own was like at 8 p.m. or something when it might have been closed to non-engineers. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I can mostly get in during the days. I mean, I think on Sundays or something, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it is restricted to like engineering majors. I
Okay.
think on the like weekdays, it's pretty fine.
All right.
Like
There are
directly
also
behind the PMA, like I think it's part of the EERC. There's this cafe called O's, and they have a patio outside, and there's like tables and chairs and everything, and it's a good place to like study or hang with friends.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot of little nooks kind of on campus that are like really kind of secluded and there's like no one there. It's totally empty. And as long as you don't like need an outlet for your laptop or something, you can just kind of chill and you won't see any people.
Yeah, and I think maybe some of the underclassmen haven't discovered these places yet, but I think you guys should try out any of the UT libraries besides the PCL. Everyone knows the PCL, but like the architecture library and the main tower library are beautiful spaces. Like, I don't know. It's can be distracting because they're just really pretty rooms, but they're also really, really large, and I feel like not very populated at this time. So you can just go there in the morning, set up camp, and secure your spot, and people won't really come bother you. And it's a very nice place to study. Hi, Jimena.
Hi, sorry for being late. I was in another meeting.
It's all good. Thanks for joining us. We were just kind of at the end of the presentation and discussing or sharing with each other what tips we've come across throughout this time to help each other. So if you have anything to add, we'd love to hear it.
I think I added like all the points that that have helped me during the semester to a PowerPoint, but maybe you already discussed it. But something that has helped me a lot during the semester is that sometimes I just like whenever I want to do homework, it doesn't matter if my friends are not taking the same class with me. I just wanna like get into a Zoom call with them to know that there's someone else working on homework at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. Like sometimes we will be just like we will turn on our cameras and we will be working on a different homework, but we know that we are all working on something. And I do that a lot because it helps, like knowing that someone else is like studying or is doing homework at the same time. I don't know, it just feels like they are supporting you. And sometimes what we do is like we work for 25 minutes and then we stop working for 5 minutes and we talk and we continue doing this over and over again. And it just helps you like to not get easily distracted, like because everyone is watching you. So they know whenever you're not like doing homework there, whenever you're not working. So that's something that I did last semester and it kind of helped me.
I have like kind of one more. We kind of like already talked about it real quick, but when y'all were talking about like not leaving the house, most like I think iPhones all have like a built-in pedometer and you can see your steps. So this semester I've been really looking at my steps, and I think it kind of like keeps the days separate and it motivates you to actually get out of the house.
Yeah. Actually, I have one more tip that may not apply to math majors so much because I can't imagine listening to a math textbook. But if you're taking any like flag courses or general courses that have like assigned novels or assigned textbooks that aren't as technical, I guess, I always try to get an audio, at least for the past year, I try to get the audiobook version of that. And then that way, if I need to spend like an hour reading a chapter, I can just go for a walk because I've actually been pretty busy and that gives me an excuse to go outside. So that's something I found to be really fun and helpful.
And I believe that is all we have for today. We have about 10 minutes left. Newsletter this week. That's going to be every other week this semester. So that'll be going out via the mailing list on Friday. That's all. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.